And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
Welcome into RBLR Sports, the place for fans' first coverage here in sunny Tampa Bay. With me this evening are the pirate flag waving, lightning bolt firing crew of Musab. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. It is just another beautiful day in Tampa Bay. Enjoying the weather, enjoying life, and excited to talk sports with y'all.
We have Mikey.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
And of course, we have our resident lightning maniac, Chris. Chris, what is up, man?
What's going on, man? It's been another really good week for us Bolts fans in the city of Tampa, and I'm pretty sure my legs are still sunburned from about 3 weeks ago at the beach. So everything's good on this side of town, man.
All right, let's get right to it, fellas. The Buccaneers have officially brought back the entire band. They brought back everybody. They brought back everybody. Of course, we already know. They signed Tom Brady to a contract extension. They had Chris Godwin sign his franchise tag. They re-signed Gronk. They re-signed Super Bowl starting guard Aaron Stinney. They re-signed the GOAT, Ryan Suckup. And on the other side of the ball, they re-signed Levante David on the interior, Shaq Barrett on the outside linebacker, Kevin Mintner for depth, and they even brought back defensive line depth in Nacho. Okay, then this week, they put the final cross off the list, and that is re-signing Ndamukong Suh and extending offensive tackle Donovan Smith, to finagle some cap room. So fellas, Mikey, I'll ask you first. Man. How big is it that they were able to bring back Ndamukong Suh specifically?
Oh, that's epic, man. That was the last piece of that defense that we needed to bring back to secure that we're going to continue that defensive momentum that we had last year, man. I love Suh. I love how he plays, his aggressiveness, and is a great signing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hats off to Jason Light. Dude was like Oprah, man. You get a contract. You get it. I mean, he was just passing out contracts like crazy, man. So it was a good week for Tampa Bay and Buccaneer fans.
Yeah, Musab, how are you feeling about Ndamukong Suh once again being down there?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm happy. I mean, the veteran is definitely a key player, for our Tampa Bay defense. So, I'm really excited. He's made an impact, on and off the field overall. I just think that the experience he has and just everything he brings to the table, whether that be, the things, on the field and outside the field, I think he's a great leader. And most important part is he works so well with the rest of the guys. If you watch, after each play, they're communicating. There's not kind of a lot of bickering going on. They know exactly what they need to do, and when they rack up those sacks and stuff like that, it's hype, and it's just it's just one of the other just really dominant guys up front. I would have really hated to lose him, but the fact that he's back with us, it feels amazing, and it's just As each signing happens, it's like another puzzle piece comes on. So that with these two less recent signings, kind of being the later pieces, it gets you a little more excited.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite defensive Tampa Bay Buccaneer defensive player to wear the number 93.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, you don't like Gerald McCoy that much anymore?
Taking some subtle shots. No, man.
Yeah, I know.
I thought Gerald McCoy was a good player, but I'm not a fan of apologizing while sacking quarterbacks. I like the polar opposite that Suh, the polar opposite energy that Suh brings.
Yeah, he's rough and rugged, and he'll be the first one to tell you about it. Now, Mikey, let's shifting on the offensive line. It's not the huge contract that Donovan Smith's probably going to look for 2 years from now, but Jason Light's keeping him in the window of the Tom Brady recent extension. So, what are your thoughts on Donovan Smith?
So I think this is such a unique story. If you would have asked any Buccaneer fan a year ago if you would extend Donovan Smith for 2, 3, 4 years, most Buccaneer fans would say hell no. It goes back to that saying that winning cures all. It's so true because a year ago, 2 years ago, Donovan Smith was a punching bag to Buccaneer fans. Great potential. You see great play, but so inconsistent. Takes too many plays off. And I think it just took the right leader in the locker room to get him focused and take him to that next level that everyone thought he can get to. And he has. So, uh, you know, a year ago I wouldn't have expected this, but this year, man, I think it's a great signing. Offensive line came together wonderfully, protected the goat, kept him off his ass, and I think this was a good move for sure, and I'm happy that he's going to be around with the other offensive linemen, up until at least Tom Brady departs from us. So good signing for sure.
Yeah, Musab, I'd ask you too. Donovan Smith, and another one of these guys that kind of taking an extension. Now, I mean, he's getting a lot of that money up front as a guarantee, of course. So that helps out too. But yeah, what do you think about them bringing back Donovan Smith?
I think it was a good signing. Um, and I mean, as Mikey said, if you asked me last year that you think Donovan Smith is actually they're gonna extend his contract or something like that, I mean, I would be like, I don't know, probably not. I don't know, I can't really see him, or I don't know. I would feel very indifferent. I would be a little 50-50. I wouldn't really have much to say. But now that it's happened, I think it's a good choice. I mean, he has been kind of a just one of the trustworthy offensive line guys. Overall, I know, yes, he has his inconsistencies, but I mean, he has been part of a Buccaneers offensive line that has helped block for an offense that ranks like third and third down conversion rates. They have like the second most passing yards per game, and like eighth most points per game. He's overall, him and other guys have been doing a great job protecting Tom Brady. Uh, but I guess the big thing is just we we've kind of started him, and we've trusted him, and sometimes he hasn't exactly performed as we expected or wanted to, but it happens, um, and I mean that's just how it is. But the last thing I really have to say is what Mikey has to what Mikey said, and I kind of wanted to just double tap on it, which is the leadership definitely I think was a really big kind of game changer. Um, I mean, sure, maybe there's these other new guys in the locker room or whatever, but I mean, come on, let's be honest. When you got Tom Brady in the locker room, or when it's Tom Brady's first year in a new locker room, whoever's in there, it's they're about to have a different year. They're about to have a different year. So I just think that the I'll call it the Tom Brady effect. The Tom Brady effect, I think, got a little sprinkled on Donovan Smith, and for that reason, I think that he was able to get that contract extended, and also, I think it was just it was a solid choice. I'm gonna leave it at that. A solid
Yeah,
choice.
well, yeah, him and Marpet, they've been on that left side, protecting the most important asset on the team, of course. And Brady does get the ball out pretty quickly, so that's definitely helped. But yeah, definitely, I think Donovan Smith is one of the guys that kind of have benefited the most, for sure. Now, looking around at some quotes that I've kind of pulled in from some of these, what Bruce Arians has said, and what especially Shaq Barrett and Levante David said, when talking about the ability of Jason Light and the Bucs to kind of really bring back all of the pieces. I mean, there's I'd have to look up the stat, but the last team that was really able to do this was in the 90s, and that was the Green Bay Packers in the late 90s. They had won the Super Bowl against the Patriots, and they brought back everybody, and they ran it back, and I think they only lost 2 games that whole year. Brett Favre was an MVP of the league, and they made it all the way back to the Super Bowl. So Bruce Arians was recently on a Zoom, and he really kind of laid out the plans, and he said, I don't know how many outside players that we're going to look at. If we can keep our guys and hit the draft like we have in the last few years, then we'll be in great shape. Shaq Barrett kind of said the same thing. He said, usually teams will win and people will walk away because some guys will want a higher salary. But the Bucs were able to make it work. And, he was admonishing Light for saying, we're able to move stuff around and get some amazing deals, and there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to really bring everyone back. Levante David was quoted as saying that he's all about the team. He's doing what he can and doing what it takes to hopefully get everybody back and do this thing again. Levante David even goes on to talk about that bond. He says the bond that we had, the bond that we shared was like no other, including with the coaching staff. Everyone's a real tight-knit group, and that's something I haven't been around in a while, and it's something I want to be part of. So, you're getting the top defenses, the top reasons, on that defensive side, and the head coach everyone's on the same page. Even if you look at the Super Bowl parade, no one's ass is going anywhere, right?
Nope.
So clearly this was the goal. Mikey, what's the best part of bringing back virtually every starter?
Yeah, you know what to expect. Going into the last half of the season after that bye week, those final 8 games of the regular season, we just kept on building and building and building, leading us into the playoffs, and we know that the rest is history. So bringing everybody back, everyone's familiar with them, with the playbook. Everyone's familiar with their teammates. Everyone has that level, that standard that they've set, Super Bowl champions, and they just want to build off of that, man. I'm sure Tom Brady's, drilling it in their head that the best ring or their favorite ring is the next ring, and and they can do that together, man. So I think it's epic that we were able to bring everybody back, and I'm expecting very big thing. I'm expecting the momentum to continue. We scored an average of 30 points in the playoffs. The final 4 games of the season.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
I don't see any reason why that would stop. Our defense was, dominant. I don't see any reason why that would stop with everyone coming back. So I'm expecting big things from this 2021 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Musab, man, what do you think is the main advantage that the Bucs will have, kind of bringing back 100% continuity almost?
The big thing for me is I guess, the team chemistry is just going to get even stronger and stronger. This is kind of a bad example, but the way I kind of see it is imagine you're playing a pickup game, you just win, winners to stay, and now it's like a new bunch of guys are kind of going against you. Basically, you kind of already warmed up, everyone knows everyone, your style, and again, just having more, I guess, of a stronger, team bond as well. And honestly, I think also a little side piece to it is, hey, Tom Brady, obviously he's not a rookie or something. This guy's in his 40s now. I'm not saying his time is coming, anytime soon, but what I am saying is I think he knows that he's obviously not, going to be in this shape forever. So for that reason, he's trying to go out with a bang. And I think Tom Brady is going to do everything it takes. I think, along with a bunch of the other guys as well. But I just really do think that Tom Brady, there are going to be nights that Tom Brady just thinks and just thinks about lifting up that trophy again. I don't think there's anyone on that team who wants it, as bad as him. I really don't. So for that reason, I just think that they're going to be even scarier. And we're really in for a treat. I'm gonna tell you that the fact that all these guys are running the back together, it's it's like you're playing rec ball, and you get annihilated by a team, and then your mom or dad's like, "Oh, it's okay, honey. They've been playing since fifth grade. It's like, oh, they've been playing forever. That's why they're so good. They have that whole team chemistry. So same thing here.
But now, it's clearly an optimistic time. But playing devil's advocate, okay, them bringing back the entire team, a Super Bowl winning team as it is, it means that the same kind of issues are still there for other teams to exploit. Musab, I'll ask you first. Everyone's another year older, and we haven't seen that many cracks last year. But you think of Tom Brady, JPP, even bringing back Ndamukong Suh. But Levante David's been around since 2012. William Golston's been around almost 7-8 years now. How confident are you, Musab, that the Bucs will be able to keep the momentum going, being a year older?
Tell him, Musab, we're running it back.
Oh, yeah, we're running it back again. I am very optimistic, but as you said, Eureka, we got guys who've been playing in the league for a while, and it's kind of thinking about, but what if all these what ifs, and I understand that these what ifs actually happen sometimes in the season. So I guess that's where our maybe drafting comes in, and that's what I'm thinking. And I'm not gonna get too in depth with it right now, but what I do think is, with all these signings is everyone is drafting for need except Tampa. We're drafting really more for depth. So I think that's where that what if kind of comes in. So for all those people who are saying what if this and what if that, well, I think the Bucs game plan is to snag some what if backup players from the draft and see how they do with our team.
Yeah, Mikey, is there any worry about a lot of these guys who've been around for 7-8+ years?
Zero worry. I don't see any issues at all, man. I may be still drunk, and I may have my Buccaneer goggles on right now and living in Fantasyland. But man, I really do not foresee any setbacks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with this team that we have in place with Tom Brady leading the squad. I think we're running it back, man. I think this next year coming up is going to be even more of a treat than what we experienced last year. And I'm excited. I think the older guys that have been in the league for a while haven't fully fallen off the cliff yet, or haven't even approached the cliff yet. They're coming up to it, but they haven't reached it yet. And like Musab said, I think those players that are older, that have been around for a while, that are getting closer to the end of their time with the Buccaneers, I think those issues will be addressed in the draft, and I think they're just gonna fit in well, man. And I mean, we might go for 3, man. We keep Tom Brady healthy, we're going for the 3-peat, man. So no setbacks over here.
All right, I got a couple other devil's advocate questions here. So
you got to do it.
Now the NFL is a copycat league, okay? And people, of course, are going to be able to see what teams like the Saints, the Chargers, the Rams, and even the Chiefs the first time were able to do. So Musab, I'll ask you first, do you think that there's ways that teams have figured out that they can utilize, like short routes and screens and so some of these things these teams have been really, really good at against this very, very aggressive front seven?
So you're asking, do you think they're gonna still use it to an advantage next year?
Well, I'm saying there were some times, throughout the year that teams like the Chiefs, the Rams, the Chargers, the Saints were able to beat or at least compete with the Bucs by utilizing some different game plans. And you got some guys like Levante David really can't cover the passing routes, and when you had a guy like David, you had White out with an injury, right? So they were able to kind of pick apart some of these guys in passing schemes and the zone schemes when they weren't able to use a man structure when you had a couple guys out. That's kind of what I would say is that not just the age factor, but also the fact that they didn't add anything new to this team. They didn't change anything fundamentally to this team. Do you think that other teams are going to be able to kind of figure out with more time and more tape?
No, I don't think so, because I think we will also have, the same amount of time and the same amount of tape to look at our opponents, and it's just, it's just another year with the same guys, and I don't think we're going to be making the same mistakes. Now, obviously, I'm not saying we're going to be playing absolutely perfect. Obviously there's going to be slips here and there. That's part of the game. But what I do think is, I think that while they may happen here and there, they're going to be happening a lot less. I think that the defense kind of game plan will be a little more um, of a variety, I guess. Kind of to a little more able to adjust to different kind of offenses. So in the end, really, I just think that only time will tell. Honestly, only time will tell. It's really
Okay.
up to our Bucks to put in the work, as in watch the tape and analyze how our opponents play and how they kind of nitpicked at us. And same thing goes for our opponents. It's kind of up to them to say, all right, well, if these guys are just the exact same bunch of dudes, and they're running it back against us, then are we gonna try this again? Because it looks like it worked the first time. So it's really up to them. But I don't think it's a big threat at all.
Yeah, Mikey, do you see where I'm going with this question? Kind of.
Yeah, I definitely see. I mean, you have a year worth of tape to pick apart our strengths and our weaknesses and game
Yeah.
plan for that.
Yeah.
And that's how it is every Sunday, right? I mean, the other team is they're getting paid as well. They want to compete and win as well. So I think that's a challenge that you come across. Kansas City Chiefs, they were practically the same team they were the year before. They went back to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. There's been other teams that have been able to make it to the Super Bowl back-to-back seasons. I don't see it being too big of an issue. I think we have a pretty deep squad, a very talented squad. So if you want to stop our deep threat, we can hit you. We can hit you on short routes. If you want to go deep on our corners, I mean, I just think it's gonna come down to game planning week by week. The talent is there, which is the most important part, and then it goes to coaching. The way we played Kansas City Chiefs in that first game wasn't the same we played them in the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and we saw what happened there, and that's an adjustment. It wasn't talent, and the talent was the same talent we had in that first game. That comes to the coaching and his game plan and the team's preparation. So I think it's a week to week thing. It's a mindset, and I think it's going to come down to coaching and how the coaching utilizes that talent. And I think we have one of the best coaching staffs in the league. So I don't see it being too big of a deal. We should be good.
All right, well, gentlemen, let's play a little game called the way too early predictions. I think Mikey's already on his way to Vegas to plop down money
Oh, yeah.
on us winning a championship again. But I got a few questions, and I'll have each of you kind of give me your reactions and kind of your predictions about these things. So,
Let's do it.
the first one, I guess we'll start with Musab here, and then we'll go to Mikey. My question is, do you think the Bucs are going to continue the no risk it, no biscuit downfield attack, or are we going to rely more on the ground game this season?
No risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah, I say no risk it, no biscuit as well.
Yeah.
I just say that because
Cool.
I guess I'll
Good talk.
elaborate, which is
Cool. All right.
No,
Well, fair enough.
we
Yeah,
gotta
fair enough.
continue the no risk and no biscuit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. That's what we want to see. We want to see these guys tossing that rock around. And if the defense is game planning for that, we could rely on the run. Hopefully, we add another piece to the running game. But hey, let's bombs away, man. We got the skills, we got the talent. Tom Brady wants to hit 5,000 yards in a season. I know he does. He could have got there if he would have been on track a few more of those games in the middle of the season. So I say we bomb it even more than we did last season.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that's gonna factor into if they don't try to go after a big name running back, or they just keep it with Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones good on the ground, can't really catch out of the backfield. You got Keshawn Vaughn, but he kind of drops the ball every once in a while, and he's coming back on his second year now. You got some young guys. They all have kind of needs. So it's kind of like you were saying with game planning. It's like, well, are they going to trust Keshawn Vaughn out of the backfield, or are they going to try to be more balanced? We saw when they made the play calling change to utilize more play action, utilize more running, you saw more sustained success than the first couple weeks where they just tried to air it out. Yeah. My next question, I'll go to Mikey first here. What do you think Tristan Wirfs will look like in season number 2?
You can't get better than season number 1, man. This guy's a baller, dude. He came out the gate looking like a Pro Bowler. So I'm expecting a Pro Bowl, All Pro type season from our young offensive lineman. And you put him with our center with Donovan Smith and Marpet. I'm expecting him. I'm expecting him to ball out, man, and keep doing what he's doing.
Musab, I'll ask you the same question. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Tristan Wirfs' sophomore season?
I think Tristan Wirfs is going to have a sophomore season like Devin White did. I think he's even going to pop out more. I think he's going to have a great season. It's something like that. You really have to have a keen eye to really notice, someone like Tristan Wirfs and how good he really is. And I just think that he's going to make a name for himself to, I think, everyone this upcoming season for sure.
All right, Mikey, NFL's expected to go to 17 games this year. The Bucs were 11-5, so I'll give you an over or under. Are they going to go over or under 11 wins this year?
They're going over 11 wins this year,
okay,
for sure.
All right.
Taking that to Vegas.
Yeah, how many wins do you right now? What do you think they're gonna do?
So this season, what they increased the regular season is 17 games now.
Yeah, correct. They'll play 17 games.
17
Not
games.
officially, but it's kind of what they're thinking they're gonna do.
Yeah. I'm going 15 win season.
15-2. All right.
Yeah.
All right. They'll be like the third team to ever reach that. It's like I think the Patriots in their perfect season, and then maybe a couple others. So, Musab, what do you think, man? Over or under their win total last year with one extra attempt to do it?
Most definitely, without a doubt, over. My final season prediction with those 17 games, I'm gonna say 14-3.
Okay.
With one of those games being like a really, really close one. One of them's gonna be mad close. It's gonna be like that. That last to the last second kind of battle. That's why we lost. Or you know what, Eureka, it may be, that. Yeah, I think you know what I'm about to say. That I think that third loss may be a Bears kind of loss.
Oh no!
Oh, no.
Just something absolutely
we can't do that.
No, sir. All right. Now one thing they did win. They went 11-5 last year. But Mikey, will the Bucs do what they didn't do last year, which is win the NFC South?
Ooh, we haven't won the NFC South in a long time.
Been a long time
coming. Let me see who do we got? Who do we got to compete with in the NFC South? We got James Winston. We're beating them. We got what? Matt Ryan. We beat them. Who does the Panthers have? Do they still have Bridgewater?
I'm trying out next week.
You're trying out? Nice.
Yeah,
We're definitely beating the Panthers. I think this might be our year that we finally get the NFC championship or NFC South champions. Yeah.
Okay.
Got to, man. I mean, we're gonna be 15-2. I mean, I don't see any other team in NFC South getting to 15-2.
I know. I'm saying, does Musab? Do you think your 14 wins the division next year?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, just what Mikey was saying. You heard all those names. No way they can match up to our team. And we're running it back again. Uh, New Orleans, like this past season, was just one win ahead of us in the standings. So, I'm not worried about us, winning the NFC South. I think that's
That's a
I would
given.
say that's pretty locked in. I would say pretty locked in. I would, you know what? Yeah, I say definitely. The boys are
Okay.
running it back. I think Mikey's vibes are giving off on
Yeah,
now.
yeah. That's what I'm
We
talking
know-
about.
I'm
Musa.
becoming as each minute goes on in this podcast, I'm becoming just a little extra optimistic. So I think for that reason we're locked in to win the NFC South.
All right, I'll ask the big. You guys know what the big question is. I'm not going to ask that. I'll ask you guys to give me two other big predictions. Mikey, let's start with you. Give me one big prediction, and then I'll come back to you.
One big prediction:
Yeah.
my boy Tom Brady's gonna win MVP of
Okay.
the league, and he's gonna reach 5,000 passing yards.
Wow, 5K yards.
Yes.
Musab, what's a big prediction, man? I like it.
All right, my first big prediction is I
Okay.
think that Devin White will win Defensive Player of the Year. The dude is just, I'll just keep it straight, just plain and simple. I mean, he is young, he is an absolute tank, he is dominant, he works well with others, he's running it back again with Levante David and the rest of the guys. I think this is going to be his year for sure. I mean, he gives me like linebacker Suh vibes. This guy, he gets up in their faces. He's hype. He's a mad dog. When it comes to if I need two guys to get me real mad and hype and make me get maybe a little extra aggressive and stuff like that. Play a little dirty here and there. I'm gonna count on Devin White and Suh. I'm gonna count on them two to really hype me up and. So for that reason, I'm gonna say Devin White. Devin White's gonna be my Defensive Player of the Year next year or this
All right.
upcoming season.
That'd be pretty
Mikey,
cool.
one more prediction for me.
One more. Damn, I gave you 2 and 1. I should have held
Yeah.
the 5,000
Yeah, I
yards.
was gonna say there's you gave us bonus coverage.
Gave
here.
you bonus coverage. All right, let me see. Another bold
what's it?
prediction.
Like I said, it's way too early. I'm hoping you're right, but fire your shot, brother, man. Come on,
Let's
spicier
go.
the better.
All right, so with this prediction, since
Uh-huh.
we're going bold, we're going big.
Yeah.
There's no risk and no biscuit over
No
here.
risk and no biscuit.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my over and under. Right,
Uh-oh.
I said we're going 15-2. We're going 17-0.
Wow.
The only thing left on Tom Brady's resume is to go undefeated. All right, he almost got it. I mean, he went undefeated in the regular season, but he didn't win the bowl. We're
All right.
going undefeated and we're winning the bowl. Perfect
All right,
season for the Bucs.
This is where I asked the producer to throw in the air horn right now. This is where you put it in.
Let's go.
All right. Well,
And-
that's pretty
and it-
spicy, man.
Yeah, and this is a prediction with no vodka involved. You know what I mean? This is not even. Talk to me tomorrow night, and the prediction is going to get even crazier.
All right. Musab, man, one more prediction. You got Devin White, Defensive Player of the Year. What else you got for me?
My other prediction is I think Tyler Johnson. The best way to describe it, I think Tyler Johnson's gonna have like an Antonio Brown kind of season. And yes, I know Antonio Brown only played like 8 games with us, but what I mean is, he's gonna kind of be that, that third receiver. I think he's gonna be getting a lot more touches, a lot more receptions, and a lot more yards. Ideally, I think he's gonna be hitting that kind of like that, that Scotty Miller, Antonio Brown kind of, yardage. Around that 400, 500. I really do think that he's special. He's young and he's got a bright future ahead of him.
I think Musab needs some more vodka because these are some very calm and like easygoing predictions. Like
The voice of reason, okay? The voice of.
he has to balance it out. You got to balance it out.
Someone's got to, man.
Yeah.
So the big question, Mikey, you've already answered it, but the big question is, they broke their streak of 12 years without making the playoffs. Are you thinking that this team is likely to repeat as the Super Bowl champion?
We have to, man. We have to go back to back.
Yeah, I mean,
Bruce Arians said it. We're running it back. He said we were bringing all the players back. We brought them back. I'm going with whatever Bruce says. So if he says we're bringing players back and we do it, I believe him. If he says we're running it back, we're running it back.
Musa, man, it's pretty hard. Only we just saw the Chiefs, and they weren't able to do it themselves. That last Packers team that brought back all their starters, they ran into a buzzsaw that is the Denver Broncos back in the day. Do you think right now, as we sit here in March, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are likely to repeat as Super Bowl champions?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, they are likely to repeat the Super Bowl. I think this team is special. I think yes, yeah. Every team is different. Like the Pats and the Packers, as you were mentioning, Eureka. But
Yeah.
this team is really special, and the things that kind of that are sprinkled onto it. For example, Tom Brady's kind of trying to end his career with a bang. We got people like Devin White, who's just been an absolute beast, who's just gonna have I think an awesome season. Another little thing is as we were talking about all the whole gang's back together. All these things just kind of all add up, and hopefully we get some nice draft picks as well. So I think everything is gonna fall into place for us to win another Super Bowl.
All right. Well, I definitely know what color the Kool-Aid is here in Tampa. It's a pewter cup and it's red liquid inside of it, brother.
Oh yeah.
And we are definitely making some cocktails with it. So, but it's fun. I mean, this is fun. This is good.
It's been a long time coming, man.
How long ago? I mean, got to think of
know?
how long has it been, if ever, that you've been able to feel this feeling. Where they built something. They didn't go out and buy a bunch of people. I mean, other than some free agents that when you brought in Brady.
Yeah.
But for the most part, that defense is a core that has been built, and they're able to bring it back after succeeding. I mean, that's just so crazy. So I get why you guys are so optimistic. I understand it, and I feel it too, man. So let's take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Chris about our other champions, the people that won the Stanley Cup last year. They're looking to repeat. Let's talk about the Lightning after the break. Welcome back into RBLR Sports. Let's talk about our boys in blue and white. And for that, we have Chris. Man, Chris, let's get into the main event, and that is the Big Cat, Andrei Vasilevsky, setting the franchise record 12, count 'em, 12 straight victories. Tell me, like, how does this fit, in terms of Lightning history, and what does that mean for the Big Cat as a goalie? Like lay it on me, man. Vasilevsky's the man.
He really is, man. This is great for him. I mean, he's only 26 years old, and you look at all the stuff he's accomplished. I mean, we drafted him back in 2012 in the first round, picked him 19th overall, and I mean, you couldn't say anything. He's phenomenal. I mean, what do you say? You kind of sit here and think, and you're like, all right, he's gonna have that game where he lets in 3-4 goals, and it's just not happening. Like he's out there on the ice. I mean, he's just save after save after save after save. He plays. He like I said, he would probably play every night if Cooper would let him. But obviously, we know that can't happen. But his determination, his seeing eye ability, man. Like sometimes the way he gets those saves and follows the puck, and his improvement of as far as playing the puck he's improved a ton on that. And I think a lot of that he learned from Bishop when he was here, because Bishop was one of the better goalies as far as playing the puck off the wall, and Vasi's improved in that tremendously. And I mean, if you take a look, if you take a look at his career, I mean, his numbers overall, I mean, this year so far, he's given up 1.83 goals a game. I mean,
Wow.
That's phenomenal. I mean, he's 21 and 3, a save percentage of 93, which is, I mean, 3 shutouts. I mean, how do you down a guy who's just won 12 straight games? I mean, that's set the franchise record, and I mean, it's really good for him. It's good to see, and I'm glad I'm glad we have him in net, man. I mean, he's definitely got to be probably one of my favorite players on the team. Honestly, I've always respected the goalie. The position. It's a tough position to play.
Yeah.
You got to be good. You got to be skilled, and I've always respected goalies in hockey. And it's just, I mean, real quick, if you take a look at it, I mean, his career back when he started, his first year he only played 16 games. Then he played 24. Then he played 50, 65, 53, 52, and
Wow.
obviously he was hurt a little bit. I think it was the 2018 season, I believe he broke his foot in practice. And that's when Domingue came in, and that's when Domingue played all those games and actually set the franchise record, which was 11 consecutive wins.
Wow.
And we know it's kind of funny that Bassey comes back and gets it from him, the guy who helped him out and helped the team out while he was hurt off that freak injury in practice. But yeah, I mean, I'm really happy for him, man. He's I know he's a good guy off the ice too. I know a lot of the guys enjoy him in the locker room. I know he's got a pretty funny personality, so it's just a great accomplishment overall, man.
Yeah, and coming off of, I guess, the last marquee goalie that the Lightning had was Ben Bishop, and I think a lot of fans were not too happy when Bishop kind of couldn't get the big one done, and when the Lightning got kind of moved on from him, and then Vasilevsky's been able to be that franchise level kind of like ace. If this were baseball, he's our ace. He's the guy, and
right.
you got to have. It's like I guess it's closer to a quarterback. You got to have a goalie. You got to have a quarterback. Well, Vasilevsky's been more than adequate. And it's a big reason why I think the Lightning are in the position they are in. And, hopefully when we get to the playoffs, it's another lights out performance. But so far this season's been crazy. The next thing I'll bring up is we are a month away from the April 12th trade deadline. Do you think there's any needs for this team? Anything they might try to go out and procure, or any trades they might look to do over the next 4 weeks?
I think as far as the needs part goes, I mean, you could always have depth. Depth helps, obviously. And we have those guys who keep rotating in kind of on that fourth line between Colton and then Volkov will get a game in. And I've seen Jamel Smith come up a little bit and played a couple games. So obviously you could always use depth. I don't see the Lightning really going after anybody because I think we're sitting pretty good. We're going for that repeat. We got the guys here that we wanted to re-sign and make sure that they were here for this repeat. And I could say we've had a couple injuries on defense. Obviously McDonough got hurt. He missed last game. Hoping he comes back this road trip, but could always use another defenseman back there. But I don't think it's necessarily a need that's going to hurt us as far as down the stretch or, in the playoffs, as far as if it wouldn't cost us a game, it's not going to cost us the season. Like I said, you could always have depth, but I don't think we'll really go after anybody. We talked last week a little bit about the backup goalie situation, but that's one of those things I don't see them doing. I think they're just going to let McElhinney ride. They know come playoff time, Vassey's not going to miss a game now. Now, if God forbid, but if something were to happen to Bassey, and I talked a little bit last week, then I'd start to get worried, and I'd be like, oh man, maybe if it was like an emergency situation where Bassey was out for the season, or God forbid something happened to him and the trade deadline wasn't here, then yeah, I could see definitely making a move possibly for a goalie to fit in just, maybe a playoff role if something were freak accident like that were to happen. But other than that, I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, we're going to get Cooch back in the playoffs, and I think all the lines are gelling pretty well together. Colton's played really well the couple games he's been up, so I don't really see them making any moves, and I don't really think it's necessary. But could always use depth. But at the same time, like I said, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, do you think we're about halfway through? I think we're over halfway done with the season so far. It's so crazy to think that it feels like we just won the Stanley Cup, to be honest with you. And but we're halfway to the playoffs. It's crazy. Now, with that said, we are going to hopefully get Kucherov back. I mean, he was skating around a little bit last week. So do you think it's just one of these end of the bench guys that ends up getting kind of sent down, and that's kind of the roster spot that Cooch goes in?
Yeah, probably more
Okay.
than likely it's going to be. Yeah, I could see. And the thing is, too, you got to think too with Cooch coming back, he's not going to be warmed up. He's
Yeah.
not going to have played any games. He's not going to be in. He might be in hockey shape. I don't know if he's going to be necessarily in hockey mode. Get that first check, get that first hit. That big hit that'll
Mm,
kind of bring you into the game. The feel of the game type of situation. So you
yeah.
could always maybe even see them easing Cooch in. I don't expect to see Cooch with a ton of ice time on his return right away. You might see him take, maybe I don't think they'd put him on the third line, but maybe like a second line kind of
Oh,
rotational
oh
option.
wow.
Um,
I
you,
mean,
you know, I mean, just easing him in. I don't mean that in like I'm
no,
just
but that'd
saying
be
just
that's just it's like the varsity playing on the JV team.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we have that depth that we could
Yeah.
afford to do that
Yeah.
because we do have, great guys all around. So, yeah, I could see them maybe easing him in a little bit. I think though, whatever what do they say, hip surgery, I believe, right? So,
Hmm.
yeah, that could be, that could linger a little bit, but I'm sure they'll do what they got to do and make sure he's not playing until he's ready, especially the way we're playing, So,
Yeah.
yeah, I see maybe just a drop off on maybe it's going to depend. I think it's going to depend on who's playing well towards the end of the season, who Cooper wants to keep for the playoffs.
Yeah. No, and I'm not. I'd have to look into with the roster things like do they set a different roster every round in the playoffs, or is it kind of like you set a playoff roster and that's it?
Yeah, you said it, and then that's it. That's what you get.
Okay.
So you just got to hope for. I don't know if I don't believe you could. Last year was different though because of the bubble too. Remember that was
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Oh
So
yeah, I
it'll
kind of
be
forgot about that. Yeah, yeah,
it'll
yeah.
be interesting to see this year. How we talked about the traveling and everything for the playoffs. There hasn't been any kind of information on that yet.
Right.
So, as far as like going to Canada, playing
I would
Team Canada,
assume the Canadians just come to America. I think they're
could
like
yeah.
whoever like say a Canadian team makes it, or maybe like if there's the final two or whatever, if it's like whoever if the Canadian team makes it to the Stanley Cup or the semifinals, they'll probably just have them quarantine in America. I mean, I haven't heard anything, but I would think that's
Right.
like, yeah, well, hopefully all the restrictions and traveling is a little better by the time we're done with the season as more vaccinations happen and things like that. But
If that does happen though, it'll be interesting because let's say the Lightning are a home team. Well,
yeah,
where are they? Is how is it going to be fair for the Canadian teams if they're not getting their home arena, but we get to play at home? Because obviously we've allowed fans back in the arenas.
eh?
So come playoff time, we're gonna have, I would assume they would allow a little more fans come that time because it's 2.5 months down the road
Yeah,
about.
so
But
crazy. Yeah, it's like because I'm thinking like neutral
so
site maybe,
right,
but even
right.
then
But
it's like, oh, what about the
it's like, yeah,
fans?
how's that right? How is that fair for us who we already missed all the games last year, all the playoff games because
Oh,
of the bubble. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be interesting. I think I'm with you though. I think the NHL is hoping that by that time, they can work something out as far as traveling goes, or
yeah.
hopefully stuff will be a little different. So
Well,
obviously, I'm all for fans.
yeah, hell, the NBA just released like a couple weeks ago, like their second. They did the first half schedule, then had the All-Star game, and then said, oh, by the way, here's the second half schedule. They didn't even have that. They didn't even have that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They didn't even have it.
They released the schedule later on because they talking about kicking the can down the road. They were like, yeah, we have no idea
Ah,
what the situation will be. So
okay.
we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be interesting down the road to see how that goes.
The next thing I'll bring up is I don't know if you got a chance to take a look. This is like the big news is the referee that got fired by the NHL for basically admitting that he was making a makeup penalty in the Detroit Nashville game. Did you get a chance to look into this, or did you hear the audio or anything?
I read a little bit on it
Yeah.
today while I was on break from work, but I didn't get to actually listen to the audio.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, it's a little like as they're going to break, they're just kind of like the ref had a microphone on him. He was mic'd up for the game, and he's just like, it's kind of like he was skating up to the middle, that middle little hole they go in. They talk to the scorekeeper or whatever, and he's kind of like, yeah, I wanted to call a penalty on Nashville earlier, and then like the audio cuts off, and
Whoops. Hot
uh,
mic.
yeah, man. No, so I mean, how do you feel like because this guy's just outright admitting, like, I called this penalty and I wanted to call one earlier, but I wasn't able to because I wanted to do a makeup call.
Yeah, I think that's one of those ones that unfortunately he got busted. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that happens in other games too. And it's unfortunately he just he happened to get caught saying it. And
Mm.
I've seen articles and stuff where or people commenting saying, oh, it's a makeup call, it's a makeup call. So I'm sure they happen. I'm sure
Mm.
an accidental trip or something, and then they're like, oh man, I didn't mean to call that. Maybe I'm sure the refs go review. I would think they review the first, second, third period while they're in the locker room. I'm assuming maybe they're reviewing what their calls were, making sure,
Yeah.
they are calling the right calls and making sure that, okay, well, this guy's all over this guy tonight, let's keep an eye on that and let's, see where they go. They're getting chippy,
Yeah.
so I'm sure they have those kind of conversations, and it's just one of those. Unfortunately, he got caught. I'm not saying I agree with it at all. We're all humans. We make mistakes. So I'm sure maybe he felt bad. He might have felt bad and just, but still, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you probably shouldn't be saying that, and then
Yeah.
now he's caught saying it, and it doesn't look good. That's for sure. But I think it's probably definitely been going on for a while.
Yeah, and the particular referee, I don't have his name written down right now, but I do know that he's one of them, a longer tenured referee. He's done, I think the stat was about 90 playoff games that he had done.
Oh wow!
And but it goes into those. Baseball has a problem with this. They're trying some rules out in the minor leagues where they're like having like kind of a robot balls and strikes being called in one of the lower minor leagues, kind of testing out as Major League Baseball's looking. Hockey, it's that human element. You've got those guys skating on the ice right there with the players, and they're humans. They have tempers. They have emotions. They have, they screw up. They want to do right. And I don't know. I think that I'm for the human element. I know that the other side would be just get it right. It's either a penalty or it's not a penalty, and that's definitely I agree with that a lot. But I also think that there is a little bit to be said about hey, sometimes you do get the call, sometimes you don't get the call, sometimes the guy can't see the call, and there is that little bit of error that's baked into the game because it isn't a video game. They're not robots. And I think it is frustrating when you're on that end of getting the penalty called on you or getting the call against you. But the kind of the hockey gods sometimes shine in your favor in those things. So I'm for the human element. They're not robots.
Right.
I don't think they should be called like robots. But I would not vehemently disagree with someone who thinks that every call should be exactly right down the middle 100% of the time.
Right.
But so us being kind of more than halfway through the season, I'd say let's take us through just this week. Chris, what happened since the last time we recorded? It was last Wednesday we recorded. They were playing the Blackhawks as we were talking.
Yeah, we ended up winning that game 4-2, and that was the game where I told you Gaudreau got a good shot. I don't know who he punched in the face, but man, he decked him right in the face, and that was great. So that was fantastic. We're on a 5-game win streak right now. I mean, it's kind of like it's almost like expected now that we're almost really scoring 4 goals a game on an average basis right now. I mean, I know you have the stat goals, goals scored per game, but it's almost, I mean, you can scroll back, man, and it's just, 4, like, you're talking about 4, 5, 6 goals a game, which is, it's just crazy. That just shows the firepower we have, the depth we have. And this is without Cooch. This is all without Cooch. So, I mean, what if we had Cooch right now? Where would we be scoring 9, 10 goals? I mean, is that too far fetched to think right now? Like, am I thinking way outside the box?
Probably.
I mean,
probably.
So, I mean, it's just crazy to me, the amount of goals we score a game, and this is another 5-game win streak. We crushed the Blackhawks 4-2 that game. We crushed them again 4-1. The game I talked about last week was that Panthers game, and man, that Panthers game was a really, really good hockey game. That was like, they talked about it during, it was almost like a playoff atmosphere hockey game. It was it was exciting. There hits and shots and goals, and McElhenney was in net for that game, and he played good for us finally. He showed up that game, and he ended up having 29 saves on 32 shots.
Yeah.
So I mean, not bad for him. It's way better than what we had seen, and everyone was worried like, oh man, we're starting McElhenney against the Panthers, but you got to understand when it's a back-to-back, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Vassie's going to play one, McElhenney's going to play the other. It is what it is. I don't know how they base it off of. I don't know if Cooper sees if he goes off by who we're playing, or if he just, all right, tonight you're off, you're on. I don't know how that works, but back-to-backs, you always got to expect the backup goalie to get in there and get a start. And then last night we beat the Stars 2-1. Nothing exciting about that game. I think the Stars. What did the Stars have? I think they had 17 shots last night. That's it. I'm pretty sure. That's not much to say in that game. We've just pretty much had the Stars number. Yeah, Vassie had 17 saves or 16 saves on 17 shots. So yeah, 17 total shots in a game. That says a lot about the defense, though. The defense showed up last night. They played a good game. It kind of shows that we can beat you in different ways. 2 goals last night. We didn't have a 4-goal game, but we still won. We only held them to 1 goal. So the Lightning have that ability to strike from defense, offense. You never know what you're going to get each night. So it just shows the depth we have on our team. And with that, I do have a interesting stat right here.
There we go. I know you like your stats, brother.
I do, man. I throw them in there every now and then. Lightning are tied for the 4th fastest defending Stanley Cup champion to reach the 50-point mark, 32 games, and the first team to do so this season. So we're sitting at 24, 6-2. We're the first team to reach 50 points in the season. We're absolutely crushing it in the NHL. The next closest team is the Islanders at 46, and you got the Knights at 45. So, playing really well, man. A 5-game win streak. It seems like every week we talk, it's just, positivity. So, I'm all for it, and I hope they keep on chucking away.
Now, the quickest to 50, do you think it's because they're beating up on the Detroits and Dallas and the Nashvilles? Because, you got to think, I know we've talked throughout the weeks about Dallas. Okay, look at their goal differential. They have a positive goal differential, and they're in the bottom of the standings. It's crazy. They've lost all these kind of 1-goal games. If you go back and you look at a lot of their losses, they're not getting blown out in a lot of them. Just in the last week, they've had 3 1-goal losses. It's pretty crazy. So is it that? Is it Tampa? It's just, Tampa obviously has Dallas's number. Is it just kind of, we don't have to play any other division, so we've just kind of beaten up on Detroit's and Nashville's and Dallas's?
Yeah, I think to an extent, but I also not to take away from the team that we have. We're almost looking at the same team we had last year, minus a few, 4th-line guys. So, with the talents there, the skills there, so I think all the guys performing at this level, I really think no matter who we played or how the schedule worked out, I think we're a tough out no matter what. The Lightning are defending their cup. They know everyone's out to get them. 24 and 6-2 is a really good record. So I'm sure if we were playing a regular season schedule, I'm sure I'd love to be sitting at that. It's tough to say if we would be sitting at that record right now. So it could be a little bit of us beating the Red Wings, beating the Stars, but at the end of the day, everyone's going through it this year. So we're winning the games we need to win. We're doing what we do, and I don't think they're letting that really get in their head. I think we're going out there and just playing hockey every night like we're supposed to do, and just kicking butt pretty much, and even when we played the Panthers, they're one of the better teams in hockey. We beat them. So it's not that we're just picking on the bottom teams too. We're beating the top 4 teams that we're supposed to be, that would challenge us, so we're beating them too. And really, like I said, if you look at the division though, the Predators are sitting at 31 points and they're in 6th. They're only 4 points behind Chicago for that 4th spot. And Nashville at the beginning of the season was kind of on that bottom tier. So really, minus Detroit, everyone else, the top 7 really have a shot to even get in there. Even the Stars, 28 points. That's only 7 points behind Chicago. That's a 3-game, 4-game win streak, and boom, you're in that 4th seed. So It's probably a little bit of both. We're winning the games we're supposed to, but I also feel like the talent's there, the skill's there. So the same team we had last year is there, and that helps a lot for sure going into a season where after you win the cup, you want to come out and defend the title pretty much.
Absolutely. Chris, give me your 3 stars for the week.
Ooh, 3 stars of the week. I would have to go. one for one of my stars is definitely going to be Hedman. He's played phenomenal hockey lately. The guy's just, I don't know. I mean, he's a beast, man.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to say. The guy just doesn't slow down. Like I said, he talked about it before. He doesn't take a shift off. He's playing really, really good hockey this year. He steps up. He makes plays when they need to be. If our offense isn't showing up or someone's not showing up, he's not afraid to step in and be the leader of the team. He averages almost 25 minutes a game, which is absurd, for to play at the level he does, he's leading the team in points, 33 points. He leads the team in plus minus with 15. He's had a great year so far. He's only got 6 goals, but his skill, his play, he's got 27 assists. 27 assists.
Crazy.
Next closest player is Sergachev at 19. So definitely got to give one of my stars to my boy Hedman. I would say he'd probably have my number 1 star if Vasi didn't eclipse that 12 streak. So I think I'm gonna have to give my number 1 star to Vasi. I'm gonna give my number 2 star to Hedman. But we talked about Vasi earlier. What else needs to be said? Guy's phenomenal, night in, night out. We're really lucky to have him back there. So couldn't be happier with him at goalie. Third star. I'm trying to think of who had a kind of good. Let's see, maybe points.
Okay.
Give it to Points had some Points stepped up a lot lately. He like I said last week, he started off the season a little slow, but he's had some really good games lately. He's obviously second on the team in goals now with 13, so he's shooting on up there. He's winning a lot of face-offs for us. He's got 17 assists. He's one of those guys, like I said, he goes in there and plays night in and night out. He's really good at creating separation and being that guy that sometimes, like I said, we need that spark plug between him and Yanni Gord. You send those two out there. Great hustlers, great players. So I'm going to give my third one to Braden Point, who's also leading the team in shots with 87 shots. So
yeah,
that for you.
How about Sergachev? What didn't he take a puck off the dome, man?
He took it to the lip and he got stitches. It was crazy because it was actually from Vasi trying to pass him the puck. So
yeah, well,
they took a picture together on Instagram and made a joke about it.
Maybe that gives Hedman first star. Vasi, you're the second star. 12 wins is great, but you injured your own player.
Right. Yeah. Whoops. So yeah, they made a joke about it. I saw the picture this morning with him and Vasi, and you could see Sergachev with the scar, but he still took the picture and congratulated Vasi. So this goes to show a lot for the team. The team's having fun. They're playing together. I feel like they all get along. I feel like we have a really good just organization from top to bottom, man. Cooper's a great head coach. I don't care what anyone says. Not firing Cooper because we lose 3 or 4 games. It's just absurd. What?
So how long is your leash? I mean, you win a Stanley Cup, right? So say how long do you think, Chris, is the leash? If Cooper,
he's gone. If we lose tomorrow, he's gone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's what I thought. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, he had his run, He's gone.
What have you done for me lately? Yeah.
Right? A loss? What? Nah, you're gone. Bro.
Well, no. So honestly, what is is there like a grace period, do you think? Does that exist or like
I don't see him going anywhere, man. I really don't. Even if I know he likes it here. He's younger. I don't he's the longest tenured coach right now in hockey. I don't see him going anywhere at all, man. I think even if we went through like a rebuilding year or stage, which is inevitably going to happen.
Sure.
If our AHL Syracuse Crunch have been great for call-ups. We've been great at drafting. Like I said, the organization from top to bottom is pretty good. So I don't I mean, you'd probably have to go on we'd probably have to miss the playoffs like 2-3 years in a row for him to even, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I could see if let's just knock on wood, but yeah, I think if you win a cup, you probably get 2 or 3 years grace period. Now it's crazy because we basically brought everyone back. It's like it's a Tampa thing, right? Tampa Bay. No one leaves. You win a championship, you stick around. That window doesn't close, right? Yeah, we're
Right.
seeing that on the football side too. Well, Chris, what do you think? We're going to be talking about a week from now. What's the week ahead for the Bolts?
Man, I mean, could be. Let's see, we got Dallas tomorrow night, so
Okay, that's
hopefully that's a win.
Yeah.
Saturday's at Carolina, so that'll be a good tough test for us. We need that game. Kind of if we're going on a 6-game win streak into there, kind of be one of those games where it's like, all right, let's see what we're really made of right now. Can we get to that 7 mark? And then we haven't played Columbus in a while, so we'll finally see Columbus again on Tuesday and Thursday. We'll see Columbus. So you're looking at 4 games. So you got the Stars, Hurricanes, Blue Jackets. So that could possibility of a 9-game win streak coming in next week. That'd be awesome, of course. Could it happen? Heck yeah, it could happen with the team we have. Could we lose the next 4? Yeah, of course we could. But hoping for the best. I haven't played the Blue Jackets in a while, so I'm intrigued to play them because I know they were kind of hanging around back in the standings a little bit with the Blackhawks battling for that 4th and 5th seed. So I think you'll see a little more from Columbus this series around.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know Carolina. The last time we played them was that 4-game series we had against them,
which was intense.
It was crazy. I mean, the Bolts did win 3 out of the 4. Pretty resounding. A lot of offense, but yeah, it was definitely getting chippy towards the end. And if you think that was long enough, because that was the end of February, they haven't played Columbus since January.
Was it? Yeah,
Has it been that? I'm looking at the schedule here, and I see Carolina 4 straight, and then
I guess with the way this.
So now we're
set January 23rd.
Yeah, and that was
and we lost.
There was an overtime win and a 5-2 loss, and it's like.
So that'll be interesting. We different team now. We'll see.
Crazy, yeah. I was gonna give you the last word, man. How do we feel overall right now? They're at the halfway point. There is a trade deadline just months away, but you kind of already talked about we've got a lot of depth and we've got a pretty solid team, and they're kind of maybe don't break something if it's already fixed, I guess,
right? Exactly. That's really good. Yeah. Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Is that so? Yeah. What are we? How should we feel about this team if we're just tuning in right now?
You should feel great, man. This is you're not going to have a team like this for I don't want to say for very long, but for a team like this probably isn't going to come around, but once every maybe 10, 12 years, something like that. It's the talent we have, the skill level we have, the guys we've drafted, all this stuff has finally, paid off. Because if you look back to a couple years ago, we were that team we were there, but we weren't there. You know what I mean? We were losing to Boston in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, or we were going to Chicago in the Stanley Cup, and we were losing to teams like Chicago because we couldn't close out games. We had that series lead against Washington 3-2, and what did we do? We blew it. 3-2 series lead against Washington Eastern Conference Finals, and we blew it. We're not that team anymore. We overcame that. We overcame that Columbus sweep. We proved that last year. Everyone was. Man, that was tough being a Lightning fan after that Columbus sweep, because it was hard to take that, because everyone's just beating you down, and you're reading all these comments and stories, and everyone's making fun of the Lightning Facebook page about how they're like, we're sorry fans, and this and that, and we've really rebounded from that. We're not that team anymore. This is an exciting year. It's exciting 2 years. It's just going to even get better. I mean, we're dominating the NHL right now. Like I said, once Cooch comes back in the playoffs, man, it's the possibility of back-to-back cups is a really, really high probability, in my opinion, barring any injuries, knock on wood. But I mean, we're really looking solid right now, and looking for another tan for Lord Stanley, another boat parade.
All right, that's going to do it here for this week's show. Let's bring Musab and Mikey back. We've had a wonderful week. All the the Bucs re-signing, really finalizing, bringing back everyone, and of course the Lightning continue to roll. So with that, the last thing I'll say is that if you can do something for us, our listeners, if you can do us a solid on all forms of social media, at RBLR Sports is the place to go. Give us that like, give us a subscribe, give us the follow, whatever you can do so that you have all of our content first and foremost right when we post it. And also, again, wherever you're listening to us, if you're on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, hit that subscribe button and be in the loop immediately when these things get uploaded. So for myself and everyone here, we say thank you, but I'll throw it to the boys. Musab, man, give us some final thoughts before we get out of here.
It's always a pleasure, and shout out to all of our listeners for always giving us a chance and giving us a listen. And I'm excited to be talking to you next week and the week after, and the rest of the year about Tampa Bay sports, specifically our Bucs. And that's really about it.
Yes, sir. Mikey, final thoughts, brother?
Yeah, man, it's been fun. That Buccaneer Kool-Aid is a little strong today. So thank everybody for listening and sticking with us, and go Bucs.
All right, and Chris, final thoughts as we wrap up the show here. What do you got for us, man?
Just hoping for another win streak. Hoping we're at 9 next week. Hoping maybe Vassie's at if he plays all those games, 16 straight wins. That would be something fun to talk about. And how long does Vassie go until he loses? That'll be interesting to see. It's going to be, is he going to crack under the pressure? Is he going to hang in there? So, we're going to see what this young guy's made of, and just overall really, really, really good 2 years of just Tampa sports in general, man. So just looking forward to next week, and just want to say thanks to listeners and the followers and everyone who's given us a chance.
All right. That's it for us. We're going to sign off, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.